Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. You know, this is my favorite time of the week when I get to connect and see everybody. Today, I'm excited to get our guest on here. He is logging in now. So we have a few minutes until he'll be up, but it is going to be a really, really great conversation today. I can't wait to have it. We actually did a poll before this conversation and found out how many folks didn't know about fear-free. And that's what today's conversation is about, is the fear-free movement in veterinary practices. There's even a fear-free homes. We're going to talk about that. So Steve will be on here shortly to just kind of talk to us about what that means and how that helps our pets during their vet visits and, you know, why it's important. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited to have Steve Dale on here. Most of you guys probably know who he is. He's an amazing, amazing behaviorist. He's in the media. He's all over the place. And he does a ton of talking and educating around fear-free and just like creating a better experiences for our pets and, you know, making sure that we are doing the best for them that we can when it comes to just veterinary visits in general. So, you know, we're just going to give him a few minutes to get on here and you have this conversation. I'd love to know if anybody out there watching right now, as you guys are checking in and saying hello, hi, Tiara. I'd love to know if you guys know what fear-free is, if anybody's had experiences with it at this point. And we'll have a conversation about that. So I'm just checking the comments while you guys are logging in about that. Fear-free is, while we wait for Steve, I'll just talk a little bit about what this whole movement is about. So the whole point is we talk about it as fear-free, and that's a registered trademark, right? So that is owned, and it's Marty Becker started that years ago. What we really, also refer to it as is cooperative veterinary care. And so cooperative veterinary care is just the idea that our pets get a say in the care that is happening. They get a say in what is happening to them, and they opt in. And we do this by making sure that our handling is gentle, is again, it's about that, like, I want to be here. I don't mind that this is happening, and I'm getting rewarded for the ask. And one of my favorite things about fear-free is we say, hey, and you don't have to do this. Here he is. We've got him now. There he is. Steve Dale.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Oh, we can't quite hear you, Steve. I wonder what's going on with the audio.
Can't quite hear me.
I've had trouble. You know what might be going on with the audio there.
Okay.
Steve is a great friend of mine. He's up in Chicago and just does so many amazing things up there.
I don't know what can be wrong with the audio. You're not hearing me?
Shelters. He's gonna work out the audio issues he might be having there. He's an expert at this, so I know he'll get this under control quickly.
Can you hear me now?
But in the meantime, I can't hear you, Steve. I'll tell you when I can. We can't hear you. Oh, Kristen says, yay, Steve, we can hear you. Becky just can't.
Oh, okay.
Everybody else hears you. Okay. This will be interesting. I wonder how you and I work this out. Hang on. You want to know? Try again, Steve. Hold on.
Hello, Becky.
Can I tell you the worst thing in the whole world? You guys, can I seriously, like, they get it. They're saying it's on Becky's end. Can I tell you? I had you on mute.
Oh.
How embarrassing is that?
You succeeded in what my wife has been trying to do for almost 30 years.
Really? What did I do?
Mute me.
You tell her I got the secrets. Oh my gosh. Okay, now that Becky has herself all straightened out, Steve Dale, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
It makes my heart happy to see you again. It is wonderful. I feel like I've gotten to see you. Look, they're all making fun of me in the chat. Do you see that? Haley's like, Becky. You guys, if you can't laugh at yourself, can't laugh at life, right? And I spend a lot of time laughing at myself. Steve knows that. We're having fear-free conversation today, Steve, and it is one of my favorite, and you are one of my favorite people to have it with.
Well, you know what? Fear-free has changed the world, really. And I mean that literally, but let me back up a couple steps. First of all, hello, everybody. I'm sorry for the rocky start. Secondly, Beckie, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You and 3 of your colleagues just organized and completed a veterinary conference from scratch. So the veterinary conferences have been postponed or canceled in a lot of cases, right? And frequent speakers like myself and yourself haven't been able to speak anywhere except this way, back and forth, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But you said, with 3 of your colleagues, we're just going to build a conference of our own. And you did. And you managed to get some of the best speakers that are out there in the veterinary world. A lot of people attending. And what was really impressive to me is the reality is that a lot of technicians and nurses in particular, but people from all ends of veterinary medicine either don't have the time, don't have the resources, whatever it might be, to attend a lot of these conferences to get their CE, and therefore don't have exposure to amazing people like Dr. Marty Becker, who we'll talk about in a moment, and other speakers like Temple Grandin. How the heck did you guys get Temple Grandin? You know, it was an incredible learning experience. It was a whole lot of fun, and you 4 pulled it off.
Thank you, Steve. I was humbled by the turnout. And the fact of the matter is I just love education. And that's why we do Cats and Coffee. That's why I do Coach My Cat. And that's what drove, the conference in general is education is so important. And that's why people like you just get me so jazzed, because not only do you have a ton of knowledge, but you convey it in a way people embrace and learn and love. And there's a lot of smart people out there, and there's a lot of great speakers out there, but smart people and great speakers in a whole package is not that common, and that is you. And we got to have you at our conference, and I appreciate that. And then I got to follow up with some time with you today. And our guests are so excited because you are the Steve Dale. I mean, come on. AVMA going to give you the media award this year in lifetime achievement. Do I have that right?
Well, no, because there's no conference to give me the award at. So
you are still
my lifetime apparently has not been worthwhile. They're just going to give it to me next year instead. And the same for the Human Animal Bond Association, sponsored with the American Veterinary Medical Association Award, which Dr. Robin Downing will be getting similarly at next year. I think it's in Minneapolis at the AVA. So, but yes, I've been privileged to get lots of awards and honors and all that kind of thing. And it was a couple of years ago that Dr. Marty Becker came up to me and he said, "You've been talking about fear-free for a long time." I said, "I've been talking about what?" He said, "Well, we're going to call it fear-free. Do you want to be a part of it?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, how do most dogs and cats feel about going to the veterinarian?" And I said, "I think they're going to die." He said, "You've been saying that for a while, haven't you?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "You're right. I think that too. And we are going to do something about it now." And he told me a story about how he heard a veterinary behaviorist, Dr. Karen Overall, talk about how fear, anxiety, and stress are embedded forever in the brain and really can impact the mental health as well as the physical well-being, both of our companion animals, in ways we never even comprehended before. Now we know that's true. And Dr. Becker said it's not collateral damage. So when you were trained as a technician, Beckie, you may have been taught, well, you need to do what you need to do to get the job done. Yeah. And today we know better. We have more resources. We have more alternatives. We have products we can use. There are all sorts of ways to make it way better for the animals. And I argue, if you make it way better for the animals, you're making it way better for the human clients as well. Because especially with millennials, but everyone out there, we want the best for our pets. And if we perceive the pet is having a bad experience, we're not likely to come back either. And that's not good for the pet. And it's not good for the veterinary practice as well.
Yeah, no, I always tell the story of my mom. She might be watching. You guys know my mom is my
Oh,
she's always on here. My mom, if you're on there. I never let her say she's my mom because I'm like, I don't want her to have any stalkers. I don't know, it's weird, but she watches. Anyway, she has a cat, Mia, who went to the vet and did the thing, right? She was in the back, and my mom was like, oh my God, is that my cat screaming? And she said, one, I was humiliated. So she had a visceral, personal embarrassment toward her cat's behavior, and her cat was doing nothing wrong. Her cat was trying to survive. It's like you said, literal, I think I'm going to die. And then number two, she said, I will never do that again. And that commitment to like, I'm never going back to the vet is like, you can't say that. Now, she has an amazing vet, Dr. Barbara Kirsch, who comes to her house. And last week on Cats and Coffee, we talked about the house call benefit for a lot of kitties. But at the end of the day, what you said is that exact example. If they believe they had a bad experience, if they think that it didn't go good, they're not going back. And then we have pets not getting to the vet, especially cats, right?
true. That's very true. So when Dr. Becker first asked me, and I had known Dr. Becker for, he'll say for decades, but for it's about right, really. We've been friends for a very, very long time. And, you know, the truth is, as a friend, I would do anything, but you know what? This made so much sense to me instantly. I understood the difference this can make. I mean, if more animals see the veterinarian, first of all, more lives are saved right there. But it goes well beyond that. It's about the relationship people have with their pets, as you described. And fear, anxiety, and stress not only happens at the veterinary clinic, sometimes happens in some pet parents' homes, at times not even understanding or realizing that this is happening with too much frequency to their companion animals. Also, what he's done with Fear Free is to minimize fear, anxiety, and stress at the vet clinics. That was the official first notion of this.
Yeah.
But what it's done now is expanded it to animal shelters. So animal shelters and rescues can be certified, by the way, at no charge. If you work at a shelter or volunteer or at a rescue, you can go online, Fear-Free Pets, fearfreeshelters.com. Sorry, fearfreeshelters.com. And you can learn more about it and even go through this course. That is my favorite four-letter word. It's free. And that's easy. And now groomers and dog trainers. And soon it will go beyond dogs and cats. And there will be Fear-Free for horses. And it's going to go on and on and on because we now understand the importance of emotional health as well as their physical well-being.
And so that concept right there is kind of what today became about, because it started with Fear Free at the vet and it moved into the shelter, which is so important. But now it's even moved into the home, right? And we've got Fear Free homes.
Yeah, it's called Fear Free Happy Homes. And what I love about this website, friends, is that it's for you.
Yeah.
If you're a pet parent, this is for you. So you go online, and I know you, Becky, so I know this drives you crazy. When people come to you and say, and they've read something online that they believe, and it may seem credible, even though it's from Aunt Susie's website. It may seem credible, but it's not really very credible. Really, it's not based on any science at all, and it's hard for, and I understand that, it's hard for pet parents to sort of discern what is real and what isn't real, what's fact and what isn't fact. So the information at Fear Free Happy Homes, for example, I'll write a story. I'm a certified animal behavior consultant. That's not good enough.
No.
It is reread as if it's a peer-reviewed journal by either a veterinary behaviorist or by a technician, one of your colleagues that's boarded in behavior, or both, before the story actually goes out there, aside from an editor who is more than just an editor checking spelling. It's an editor who knows about companion animals. So that's how many times everything on there is checked out and checked again. Also, there are things offered that are free. So yes, so who doesn't like that? So this website is really, it's a lot of fun. But in addition to that, seriously, there's information out there that you can trust. And that's what I like most about fearfreehappyhomes.com.
That's the hard part, right? Like, even as a professional, sometimes if I'm looking for an article or journal information that I want to find backup on knowledge, it can be really, really difficult. I always say, like, I don't bash the Dr. Google thing, because I'm like, I have the most educated clients out there. They are trying so hard to learn and to come in with some form of knowledge, but boy, there's a lot to choose from. So sometimes just having those wheelhouses to know where to go is so important. And this is the number one for me. But I guess, Steve, so I want to talk to you about two things. I get excited. So first of all, you kind of said, like, I don't think people know their pets are stressed at home, especially kitties. Like, they're like, my cat sleeps 22 hours a day. That don't look stressed to me. What could be hard about their life? Food, water, play, toys, sleep. What is wrong? And then two, I don't necessarily know, not only that they don't know how to identify it, but even when we do have a factor that they know is not quite right, it's like, how do we fix it? Like, what are those adjustments and tweaks? So tell me a little more about those things in terms of the fear-free homes and what you can learn.
So I believe we live in a nation filled with brain-dead fat cats. Statistically, most of our cats, as you know, Becky, are overweight or obese. 60%, according to your friend Dr. Ernie Ward, right?
Yeah.
And the Association of Pet Obesity, have I got that right? For the National
Pet Obesity Prevention.
Okay. So according to the work he's done, we know that 60%, that's most cats, are overweight or obese. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that cats are pretty smart. And when I speak to a room filled with veterinary professionals or cat owners, and I ask those cat parents, who's smarter, cats or dogs? Well, if I'm asking cat parents, cats. But even when I ask veterinary professionals, I don't know, you tell me how you vote. Cats, dogs, or they're about the same?
I think we're on cats and coffee, so I'm going to go with cats. But honestly, I think it's particular to each individual and their environmental learning. Cats?
Okay, you sound like you're...
That was political.
Yeah, exactly. So you can run for office and get votes from both dogs and cats.
Good job.
But I mean, we don't know, and I think cats are smarter at being cats, and dogs are smarter at being dogs. But
Yeah.
having said that, cats are smart, and they're smart enough to make us think about the possibility that they're actually smarter than our best friends, presumably dogs are. If that's the case, why don't we enrich their lives and provide what they need? And it turns out when we don't provide environmental enrichment, provide what cats are hardwired by species-specific behaviors to require, if we don't provide that, not only do they suffer regarding their mental health, they actually can become sick. We know that's the case. So it used to be called feline idiopathic lower urinary tract disease. Yeah. And veterinarians back before you were even born would say, here's an antibiotic. There is no doubt about it, because everything was cured with an antibiotic. Of course, that did nothing. And what we saw with these cats is they were missing the litter box. They were having accidents, and people would go to the veterinarian, and once the veterinarian ruled out stones, which at some point could be done, and once the veterinarian later in time could rule out a bacterial infection, then what was the problem? So Dr. Tony Buffington and others figured it out. They said this is cystitis, actually feline cystitis, not too different than cystitis women may likely get. However, the answer turned out to be enriching their environment. Poof, it went away.
Yeah.
Now we're calling it Pandora's syndrome, because it's really more than cats just having bladder issues and it hurts to pee and therefore you don't pee in the box.
Right.
Some cats don't have that issue and may hide. Other cats may have GI signs. It really depends on the cat, but we now know that enriching the environment changes it all. That's the drug. That's the magic drug, just by providing enrichment, which means providing opportunities for a cat to be a cat.
When we go into Coach My Cat, when we talk about that, it's like one of the first things. It's really, truly, every cat is saying something with these behavioral issues and sometimes health issues. You're right. First, we check out the medical side of things. Once we rule that out, it is almost always environmental. So, Steve, what are some of the things that are majorly focused on when we talk about fear-free and like fear-free homes? So what does environmental enrichment mean? Like, what is it? I play with my cat. Is that environmental enrichment? What is it?
So, and this is an issue for dogs or any species that happens to live with you, to enrich their environments. And I would argue that zoos do a much better job of enriching the environment of the average spider monkey, the average river hippopotamus, or the average boa constrictor than we do, if it's a responsible zoo, than we do compared to or for our dogs and cats. Enrichment is the opportunity to provide species-specific behaviors, normal behaviors for that species. And for every species, it's different. So for a dog, it's different than a cat. And even among dogs, the answer is that it may be different for a border collie compared to a toy poodle. But I want to talk about cats to answer your question. So cats use vertical space. So we are the only primate, when you think about it, that doesn't use vertical space. Chimpanzees do, monkey species, all of them do in some way, shape, or form, but we don't. So we don't think about that. But cats do. So your house is much larger potentially, whether you live in a castle or whether you live in a studio apartment. It is much larger potentially than what it is right now if you find ways for cats to use vertical space. And that's really important for so many different reasons for cats. Most people don't have a cat. They have 2.2 cats in America. So it allows cats to have their own separate space. Even for cats that get along great, this is a good thing. And you're able to divide the resources. By resource, I'm not only talking about food, and resources defined as something that animal or person wants. A resource could be a sunny spot.
Yeah.
So if you have a sunny spot here and the cats have always been on this ledge together, even if they get along, giving them the option to go up here, same sun that's shining in a window that's just above it, by providing either a bookshelf, making a radiator or windowsill or window ledge comfortable, anything that allows now it could be a very fancy cat tree, but it doesn't have to be. It can be, and now people can buy these shelves that are made for cats. So I've seen the shelving where it starts down here almost at the level of the floor, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and it allows the cats to climb up a wall essentially. Those sorts of things are great. Jackson Galaxy, my friend calls it catification. I don't care what you call it. It's enriching the environment, and that's what's most important. And we now know incredibly, so it used to be that veterinary professionals would say, well, that's a nice thing to do. No, it's a necessary thing to do, especially if you have an indoor-only cat. And I think let me rephrase that. I know cats are safer indoors. So if you can keep your cat indoors, all the better. But not enriching that environment should be high crimes and misdemeanor. Because for cats, it shouldn't be an option.
Right.
And even the way we feed cats. So people often talk, I use wet food, I use dry food, I use this brand, I use that brand. No. We could talk about that.
Sure.
And certainly what you feed your cat's important. To me, far more important is how we feed our cats. And I think we've got it all wrong.
Yeah. So what's right?
Is not to leave out food all the time.
Right.
So as I said, in most cases, there isn't one cat, there are several cats in the house. So if you leave out food all the time, how do you know which cat has eaten what? There's no way to necessarily. Now there are food monitors I could talk about, and I'm that's a different story. But by leaving out food all the time, one cat just scarfs it all up, and no wonder that cat looks like a bowling ball, not allowing the other cat to get to that food because they're sharing a food bowl. So out in the wild, community cats that are outdoors anywhere in the world, they can live together. They like to live together. It's safer that way. They like to have associates. They are a social species. So if you look at the old books, cats are antisocial. No, that's rubbish. Cats are not, no public official, I don't believe, says we force the cats to live together in a community and to get along. They just do. They do. But they don't hunt together.
Yes.
and they don't eat together. So naturally, cats like to, ideally, now listen, you may say, well, my cats don't mind eating together out of the same bowl. Yeah, they may have learned to accept that, or maybe even they like it. But for most cats, they're not hardwired to do that. They are, in fact, hardwired to eat solo, if you will.
Yeah.
So feeding them together all in one place can make cats very anxious. And the thing about cats also is they mask what they're thinking and how they're feeling.
Yeah.
So we don't always pick up on these things until it gets to the point where one of the cats just isn't eating as a result. So that's one way we're feeding them all wrong. But the other thing is cats naturally want to hunt for their food.
Sure.
They naturally are designed. They are designed to search, chase down that food.
Yeah.
How do you do that with a food bowl? They're hardwired. I'm looking for something here that will work. So here's some earbuds. You put two of these earbuds together, like, even more together than this, like they're right together. And that is probably a bit larger than the size of the tummies, the stomachs of most cats.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, so here we're making them gouge on their food once or twice a day, when naturally speaking, they would eat lots of small meals. So,
Oh, yeah.
right. So that's another thing we're doing that we shouldn't be doing. So smaller meals, giving them the opportunity to hunt for those meals indoors. How do you hunt for a meal indoors? I know.
Dr. Liz Bales has the answer, friend of Basepaws, friend of you. I think I show those mice on like every episode that we do here because those feeder mice, I think, are one of the best. Kristen Worman, also, Kristen, she's with Basepaws. She just does this adorable thing where it is so cute. If you guys don't follow her on Instagram, follow her because she's like either dancing with her cats or like she's the best cat mom. She just hides her little mice toys about the house, and they can smell them and they poke out from somewhere, but they have to find them. They know the game. Really, when we're creative, we can find hunting tricks for like, come on, how do you help your cats hunt in the house?
So what you can do, first of all, I also love the indoor hunting feeder. And that's the product you're talking about. And Dr. Bales, in fact, has a new updated version coming out with some cool features. So it's indoor hunting feeders. And I love those because the texture of these little mouse toys, and toys, that's the wrong way to say it, because they're really not toys. They're feeding tools for cats.
Right. Yeah.
And again, to say toys minimizes the importance of these sorts of things. And the felt outside of it, the cats can, hopefully they're not declawed and they can actually stick their claws into. So in a way, it is like catching a mouse, and it kind of looks like a mouse. Not that the cats care, but we care. But what's most important is they maneuver it in different ways, and then the food tumbles out of there. The dry food, she has a wet food type coming out soon, but there are other ways to do it too. I love also very much, and I talk about it all the time, the indoor hunting feeder. But in truth, there are other ways to do this. I mean, one is, do you ever go to the toilet?
What's the rest of that sentence? What's the rest of that sentence? Like, I do go to the toilet, yeah.
Okay, so when you do, and you use up that toilet paper, which I know is very valuable now, but when you use up that toilet paper, take the toilet tube roll and fold each side in and cut a hole out in the middle and teach the cats to roll that around. Doesn't cost you anything. And when it gets gross, just toss it or recycle it, as long as the cat doesn't chew on the cardboard or ingest the cardboard. But most cats who are not kittens won't. And so it could be from that inexpensive. Do you ever drink beer? And I know the answer to that because I know you, Becky. And you get a 6-pack and you drop some treats, or an egg carton. Drop some treats in there, or food. And what you want to do is you want to put these feeding devices, food puzzles, whatever we call it, in different places around the house. Eventually, you begin by teaching the cats how to do this and putting it near your existing food bowl. But eventually, you spread it out more and more in different places around the house. Eventually, putting some up high. If you have dogs, then you have to put them up high, out of reach of the dogs, or close doors at the beginning so the dogs can't get to it. But there are ways to do this. And what's brilliant about doing that is the cats, when the spirit moves them, can hunt, so to speak, anyway,
Yeah.
for their food. They can search. That search pattern is so important in cats. The maneuvering of it isn't quite like the kill, but it's something. And that is so very important to the feline psyche.
Yeah. Oh, so the first Cats and Coffee we did was like right when COVID kicked off, and that's exactly what we did. We made toilet paper toys. We made some that held treats. We made some that had like ruffly ends, because that was the point, Steve, was you don't need a lot of money. You don't have to get fancy. You can catify your space with a little bit of creativity. Okay, listen, I don't want to go too much further without answering some of these questions, because frankly, they're rolling in because, you know, the whole world loves you, Steve, and they know we have you today, so here they are. Just in general, Cassidy was saying that her cat was diagnosed, it sounds like, with this stress cystitis, and she wants to help him. So hopefully, Cassidy, you got some great tips about catifying. Get those vertical spaces, make sure your cat's hunting. Anything else you'd say to Cassidy? Oh, you muted yourself, Steve. Sorry. Double check there on the computer. It looks like you're muted. This time it's not me.
I don't even know how the heck that happened. All right. There's no cat here. I don't know. So what I was saying is cats live by their noses. So take something that is safe, maybe a dab of perfume or cologne or lavender, and just spritz it in a corner. If the cat, because every cat is different, if your cat's offended by that, you'll be able to tell immediately. And when you don't spray it on the wall, by the way, spray it on a piece of paper, something you can remove, to just discern at first if it's acceptable to your cat. If it is, then begin spraying it on corners on a Monday. And then remember 3 weeks from now to try it again. So just do anything you can to make your home interesting. Having said that, what's really, really important is cats, more than anything else, dislike
change.
Yeah. So if you change it up too much, you're going to have offended cats. With dogs, you could do all sorts of things. You could turn the house upside down, and most dogs, that's cool. Yeah. But for cats, no, don't do that. So the change has to be gradual.
Yeah. You know, that's such a good point. I'm glad I answered your question right, but I was like, oh, it's change. Like, it's the thing that gets them the most. It's so funny, Steve, what you're weird. So Alyssa, Haley, several people are having these stress cystitis issues. So I hope they're getting really great advice from you on enrichment activities. If they're not, they should be going over to Fear Free Homes as well.
Fearfreehappyhomes.com.
Fearfreehappyhomes.com and learning. Now, this one's a little bit of a long one, but basically, what about these kitties that do the overnight waking you up, trying to get you out of bed? They don't let you sleep through the day. What do you think about these guys?
Okay, so I was reading through that as much as I could. I don't read that fast, so I get the
No, yeah. Well, I covered your handsome face. I didn't want to leave your face off too long.
No one wants to see my face. So I know. So it depends. So let me go through answering that question. First of all, if it's an older cat, cats
18 years old.
This cat is 18?
Yeah.
Okay. So Felix, likely this is, yes, it's behavioral because there's a behavior going on, but I'm really concerned about a medical issue here. So it could be anything. It could be pain, which is at the top of my list. It could be hyperthyroid disease. And actually, if you've noted that your 18-year-old cat has found the fountain of youth and is being more active, I would say then that goes to the top of the list. In any which case, see your veterinarian.
Yeah.
Because absolutely, I am concerned that there is something medically going on with this cat. It could also be this. So, like, people can suffer Alzheimer's, and when they do, they often get confused about day and night, and their sleep schedules are kind of turned upside down. With older people, that happens. Even people that are very cognizant and aware sometimes sleep more during the day and therefore a bit less at night. That could be going on with your cat. Cats can suffer, it's called feline cognitive dysfunction syndrome, of which there are, I can go through it, I don't know that you'd have time, but there are several signs that your veterinarian will know of what those are. So your veterinarian can ask you other questions. Does your cat do this? Does your cat do this? And that's the best way, because there is no blood test for feline cognitive dysfunction syndrome.
Yeah.
So it's asking questions about behavior. And if that's the case, there are some things that can help. And there are some things that can make your cat, I don't want to say what they are, but can make your cat sleepy. I don't want to say what they are only because that's up to your veterinarian.
Right. That makes total sense. Now, Susan, she said too that he likes to go get a Temptations treat, and that kind of appeases him a little bit. So maybe these overnight feeders and some of these hunting tools overnight would keep him busy. You think that'd be a good idea to try for Felix too?
Oh, sure. There's no downside to do that. But we're talking about an 18-year-old cat and a behavior where the onset. Now, if this cat's been doing this for 18 years, God bless you.
It sounds new, and you're right. Any change of behavior at any age goes to the vet first, right? And then once you rule that out, we go back. Now, I want to show you this just because it's funny. Jenny Tinner loves you. I don't know Jenny Tinner. She says you are their cat hero. So I want you to know that that's the kind of love you're getting from our family out here. And Jenny Tinner's also saying we need Basepaws and adoption packages. Jenny, we've done some specials, so keep your eye out for that. Sometimes we do run some things like that. Let's keep looking through here for these great questions for you. So
while you're looking through those questions, I'm speaking for Basepaws on the 30th, I think it is, Becky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm talking about, I'll look but I'm talking about a cat that I had who Jenny's also in Chicago, as I am. So Jenny never had the opportunity to meet this cat because he passed away, I think it was 2002. Probably the most common cause of death in cats between the age of 2 approximately and the age of about 10 approximately. And that is feline hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is sadly common heart disease in cats. And we don't know enough about it. So I began a fund at the Ricky Fund, called the Ricky Fund with the Feline Foundation, which supports cat health studies, so we know more about it. So in conjunction with Basepaws, on a day that I'm about to tell you, I think it's on the 30th that I am.
It is the 30th. My Basepaws champions are confirming, yes, 30th.
Thank you. And we could tell them at what time and how to go there is just to simply go to the Basepaws Facebook page for more information on it. And I will reminisce and have fun talking about this cat that played the piano and would go around. This was way before YouTube,
Wow.
This cat would have been a YouTube star. This cat was a TV star on all Animal Planet shows, because back then it was unheard of for a cat to actually do anything like that and to go out in public, no less. So we'd perform recitals at PetSmart and Petco, and would go to one of the animal shelters in Chicago on occasion. And this cat loved it. Ricky the cat loved to go places, and I never had a bond with any animal like I had this with this cat who has taught me so much about cats. And if I've made a difference, as you and others apparently have said, Jenny, for cats, it's really Ricky the cat that taught me what cats can be. And I don't think that we yet give cats enough credit for what they can be.
You get me with the story of Ricky every time. I know the story of Ricky, and it just gets me because the bond is so real. And that's one thing you and I work together on, is the human-animal bond. And we know it's such a life changer. And when you have that soul pet and that animal that changes you, it's so important. So yes, that is May 30th, the conversation about Ricky, the Ricky Fund, HCM. It's such an important conversation, and we're so grateful you're having it. I have 3 questions that I think are really good that we're going to wrap up with, and we're going to go over. They're going to yell at me, and I don't care. I got the live button. What is he going to do?
And by the way, we're going to raise money in this thing for the Win Feline Foundation. And that's what, thank you, Basepaws, because I'm very grateful for that. And thank you, Julie Legred, for helping put this together. And as you know, our friend Julie puts the world together.
Yes, you know, everywhere. We're attached to the hip. She's an amazing person.
Yeah.
And the reason I even know you, Steve, so 3 great questions. One I want to ask you about that I think was a really good question, because, and I'm going to scroll back to it, but what about moving? We talked about change. So Cassidy, it looks like she's got a move coming up, and she's worried about the car. She's worried about the new place. It's a change a lot at once. And then we talk about all this stress cystitis stuff. So when we know change is coming and we want to maintain a fear-free home, how can we help with that in creating calm in what we know is going to be chaos?
I love that question so much, because on my website this weekend, I'm going to post a story about that very, very topic, as it happens, that will offer more details, because in 1,000 words you can do that than what I can answer right now. So there's a pheromone product called Feel Away. I would plug that in right now. You know when cats rub their cheek pads against a chair leg or a table leg, they're depositing a pheromone. That pheromone is saying, if we could translate pheromones, I'm comfortable to be here. This is my environment, my mind, and I like it. And that's a good thing. So plug in a Feel Away diffuser where you are now first, because when we're moving, we get crazy. You know, packing, and our schedule goes upside down. So if you typically play with your cat with an interactive toy at 6 o'clock, try the best you can to continue on that schedule. Cats love structure.
Yes.
So when it comes to the cat doesn't care about all the other stuff going on, just so I get mine. So if the cat gets his or hers, or theirs, if you have more than one, that's a good thing. Help lower the anxiety just by plugging in the Feel Away. And then, I don't know if you're moving cross country and have to drive in a car or just down the street to wherever you're going, but wherever you do go, plug Feel Away into one room. Have the movers, if you can, address that room first. Don't let the cat have the run of the house. That's a big mistake. It's too large of an area, even if it's a studio apartment. Here's what I'm also concerned about: that door being open and closed by the movers, and that cat who's afraid may run out the door. A lot of cats are lost that way on moving day. So prevent that from happening. Put your cat at first, maybe even in a bathroom with a litter box, food, treats, maybe some catnip, that Feel Away plugged in, something to bust the stress. And then maybe in a second bedroom or den, take the bedding that the cat had and put that in that room too. Anything, the more familiar smells, the better, because cats, of course, live by their nose.
That's exactly amazing advice. It's what we want everyone to do, to remember that their space can be reoriented into their space, but they have to be made to feel comfortable there. And it's all about having that opportunity to go back to what they know. And we can acclimate them to a new space. But Cassidy's that's a great question on her part, because it is a stressful time. Okay. Another great question I wanted to ask you about was these feeder toys when we have several different foods or special needs in the house. We've got a cat, say on a stone diet or whatever. What do we do for those guys when we want to provide hunting, but they've got multiple cats, different foods?
Okay, so what we could do, first of all, if those cats, if their diet allows, and I'm not sure it does, but if it does, allow them to have a common treat, whatever that might be. At least you could put treats, at the very least, the common treat in these toys. That's a starter, if that works for you. For some cats, that doesn't. The other thing is we've got the advantage of having thumbs and we can close doors. And I know it can be hard to manage with, say, 4 cats. I don't know what your number is there of how many cats, but let's say it's 4 cats. That can be tough to manage. So what I tell people is, okay, fine. 80% of their food still comes from the way that in the real world is just best for you to feed the cats. But let's compromise. So the rest, that 20%, and if one cat, again, depending on the special diet, so sometimes a cat that gets just some treats or just some food, and if it's a very small amount, it's not going to be harmful. So it depends why that cat is on a special diet, and talk to your veterinarian about that. But if the cat can have some food, just a small percent, then that's fine too. And the magic number for nutrition people, I think, is 10%. So if less than 10% of the diet, but again, it depends on the cat and what that medical need is. Does that sort of answer the question?
Yeah, I think that answers it very well. And I love the treat suggestion because there is a way to get that hunt in, right? Like just the one little treat, or it can be hunting for toys. We may not involve the food and we may find scent. One other trick I kind of love for that, if we can, is using the little hairball Laxatone, right? Like I don't know anything but the brand names, and something like that, which is like really sticky and gross, but you can put that on a little piece of something that can be found. Like I can put it on like a bathroom linoleum or somewhere where they can lick it. It's not a problem, but they can find it. There is always a workaround with creativity. Is that the bottom line, Steve?
Yeah, it is. But I mean, if I give advice that's simply too much work, people aren't going to do it. So I'm trying to find sort of a magic in between. But you're right, and a lot of cats, especially kittens, they don't care if it's food. They're happy to find toys. And the secret to that, toys that move without scaring them.
Yeah.
I remember at one trade show, someone came up to me and said, "I've got the greatest mouse toy in the world. It really looks like a mouse, and it sounds like a mouse." So I went up to their booth, and it really looked like a rat, and it was the size of a very large rat. It scared me, and it sounded more like an elephant. I mean, it was so loud. So I can't imagine how cats would not be afraid of that thing. And it moved really fast. And it was unpredictable. It would run a cat over. It was as big as some cats. So, you have to choose the right toys for your cats. But toys in general, toys that move unpredictably, are interesting for kittens especially, and all cats.
Yeah, I love it. Steve, I want to talk to you all day, but I know they're going to turn the lights, grab the hook, and cut us off here. And that is not how we want this to end. I want to say, you guys, make sure you're checking out May 30th with the Ricky Fund. We are donating $5 from every DNA test sold from the Ricky Fund through May 30th, along with Win Feline Foundation and our friend Julie LeGred. Make sure you guys check that out. I also just want to say, your friend Jenny Tinner, Feel Away Wipes in the carrier. Yes. That's a wonderful way for the move too. So I love that. I want to say hi to my friend Gita. I see she's out here. And then the very last thing, Steve, you are part of with me is getting to announce our weekly winner for the Basepaws Challenge. My favorite part.
Can I say two things before we do that? And then I'll do the. First of all, for the Human Animal Bond Association tomorrow night, Dr. Liz Bales, your friend, and myself interview Dr. Robin Downing. You can find more about that on my, I guess the easiest spot would be to go to my website, and that's stevedale.tv. And there's a link right there. And we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about the human animal bond, but Dr. Downing says what she thinks, and it's all based on science, and she thinks declaw is not a good idea. And she will explain why that's the case. She is also one of the world's experts, one of the planet's experts, you'll agree, on pain in companion animals and how you can tell when sometimes others can't tell their animal is in pain. She can. And she's going to give us tips as to how we can tell as well. I mean, she is absolutely brilliant. She has literally more letters after her name than I have in my name. She's literally, she's just wonderful. She's a good friend, and I'm so excited about that. The other thing I want to say, since she's here, is Jenny Tyner, who has the Windy Kitty Cat Cafe, which, Becky, when you come to Chicago, you got to visit this place.
Yes.
We'll go together.
Okay.
And she saves kittens and cats from Chicago Animal Care and Control every single day. Jenny, it's you that is the hero for cats, and people that work with you whose names I could rattle off, and nobody here would know unless they're in the city of Chicago. But thank you for what you do as well. Okay, now you have a big announcement.
No, that's when we have a winner to announce, which is my favorite thing. So we, through Coach My Cat, which is a really fun program, which I want to say, Alyssa, I want to talk about your 9-year-old not going in the box over on Coach My Cat. There's a million things that it could be, and that's why I didn't get a chance to address your comment here. It could be enrichment, but it absolutely could be a million other things. So head over to Coach My Cat. I want to help you. But we do Basepaws Challenge every week. I got to pick 5 things I want people to do every week to create a better life for their cat. So last week, we spent a lot of time working on playing every day for the enrichment purposes, just what you're talking about. And so I get to share this week's winner. It is Oakley the naughty cat. I hope you guys can see this. Here he is. I'm going to play this video if I can figure out how to play videos from my computer. Look at Oakley the naughty cat. Oh, he's so handsome and wonderful. Look at this awesome, amazing toy he's got here. So, Oakley the naughty cat, you are this week's winner. I'm loving this toy. That's amazing. Oakley, you are this week's winner, and we are so appreciative that you guys have been taking turns and playing along with the Basepaws Challenge, because honestly, this is just about creating a better life for your cat, making sure that they are getting catified and happy cats in their space. And it's really what it's all about. And you, Oakley, you guys are doing that with your crew, so you win. Check out this week's new Basepaws Challenge. I made the videos. They'll be up this week. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow Steve Dale. Where can they follow you?
SteveDale.tv, or look for my Facebook fan page. And tomorrow, I think I send out a new newsletter, so you can sign up for my newsletters as well. And while I have the chance to say it, Becky, you are the best. Thank you.
I am the best because I have friends like you in my life that make me better, smarter, and having these fun conversations. You and I hope we'll see each other very soon again in real life. But either way, I know I'll see you tomorrow on a board meeting because I get to. And
True.
Thank you for the time. Thank you for all you do for cats. Thank you for helping my cat family here at Basepaws that give their kitties better lives. We're all about healthy, happy lives, and you're helping us do that, Steve.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
We're going to make you come back again soon.
Anytime, Becky. I'll see you guys on May 30th, though, right?
You had better. You guys check him out on May 30th, and thanks again for being here. We'll see you next week on Coach.
Thank you, Becky.
Bye.